Extra on a Tuesday as we get all logged in. Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Nina, you are looking lovely this morning.
Thank you so much.
Radiant.
I feel like a new person, you guys. I got a haircut yesterday. It was almost 4 hours sitting in the chair. There was a lot of work to do. A lot of gray to be covered, a lot of straw to be chopped off there on the bottom.
Oh, my county.
I know.
I noticed almost immediately.
Drew, I give you credit because my husband did not, he was like, I thought you got your hair done today. And I was like, dude.
No,
but Drew, you noticed. Thank you.
I didn't notice this when I first walked in this morning, but when you were under the studio lights there, I saw those highlights popping on the Tuesday. Yeah, popping highlights.
Yes, it is a glorious feeling to get your hair washed by someone else, but it is a long, hot time in that mask with a bunch of hair color smushing it up on the side. Okay, get that out of the way. Let's talk flying. Let's talk traveling, because a lot of airlines now making you wear a face mask. Which I think is a great idea for everyone on board planes. And a lot of those airlines, the union that represents most American U.S. airlines, are now requiring face masks. And if you don't wear one, you can't get on the flight. And if you put up a real stink about it, they can revoke your flying privileges on that airline for a certain amount of time.
I don't know too many people who wouldn't want to fly with a mask right now, correct?
Yeah.
But it seems like a no-brainer.
Right. The other part of the discussion right now is I think we all also sort of assume that flying in a plane, and we talked about this at some point last week in brief. We'll talk more about it right now. But I think a lot of us assume that traveling by plane is a little riskier than traveling by car. But there are a lot of reasons why, even if you're traveling in your car to, say, a lengthier distance, that too is going to present some challenges when it comes to staying safe and staying healthy.
Mm-hmm. I would just think, and I was trying, Nightly News, NBC Nightly News did a story on this, and I was trying to listen last night, but my daughter was...
being a 2-year-old?
Yes, being
having a meltdown?
I could not hear what they said. But to me, like, I don't know. Yeah, if you're going for a, hours and hours long drive versus, a flight to somewhere, I just think like, okay, you're stopping for gas, you're touching the gas pumps, you're touching the money thing, you're coming into contact, you're maybe stopping for snacks or meals, you're touching things there and running into people. You may have to stay at a hotel, that's a whole other situation where you're touching things and staying in places, versus an airport where you can maybe kind of keep more to yourself, and I don't know.
When you make your next point, Nina, try to make it as I pretend to be your daughter. So go ahead.
Right,
Mom,
she's going to touch everything.
Mom. I will tell you that right now, no question in my mind. Like Rod, you said this last week. The fact is, I don't feel comfortable getting on I have never felt comfortable getting on a plane and staying healthy to begin with, right? Like I always feel like when I go on a plane, there's a good chance I'm coming off with some sort of cold at the very least. So I still do not, mask or no mask, feel all that comfortable getting on a plane at this point. And I still feel like, when you're in that car of yours, you're in charge. You're still in control because you can let in and let out of that car who you see fit. And really, it's no one else but, at this point, my wife and 2 kids.
Hey, I'm wondering, have any of you read any information in terms of the capacity that the airlines are booking right now? I mean, are people starting to get on planes that
Rod, we're doing this on instant.
that are actually filled, or how's that?
I believe it's still over 90%
Okay, so we don't know. Is that
empty.
Right?
Yeah, a 90% drop.
Is that right?
As far as PDX goes, I think we checked with them last week. It was as high as like 96% drop in boardings, and I think it's like down to 91 or something.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with the airlines once this kind of gets a little bit further in, because we're about 6 months into this pandemic. The fact that they may take out seats, that they are taking out seats, that they're spreading people out. I mean, Rod, you were an airline, attendant for a long time back in the day, and those were the gravy train back then. But I don't know, those margins, they need to pack people in there to make any money, don't they?
Well, I mean, they've been making record profits up until this hit, right?
Yes.
So they may have been doing that a little on the overboard side, if you will. But, I mean, you figure a classic 737, one of the workhorses of the American airline industry right now, they have roughly 130, 135 seats in the coach section. So, I mean, to me, if the airlines are still only putting, let's just say 20% of the 130-some people in coach, then I would think that would make people feel a lot better, right? Getting on that airplane, knowing they're not, usually you're like, oh, come on, that's my armrest. Do you ever do that? It's like, I'm going to put my arm down on the armrest.
Sure.
Before that other person does.
Yep.
So, I mean, if there's some spreading around, that'd be a big deal. Remember, I jump on, we're flying Southwest, I believe. So it'll be my first time on an airplane this Friday. We're flying back to Missouri, and I'll be gone for a week next week.
Visiting the folks.
Family. So I'm really interested to see, what the mood or feeling is being in the airport, and then certainly how many people are on the plane, and how all of that works. So anyway,
I would imagine. What? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say Rod needs to report back when he gets back from vacation.
Yeah. Wear your mask, Rod. We don't want you sick when you come back. But it'll be interesting because there's a contingency of people that do not want to wear masks and don't feel it's necessary, don't want people telling them to do it. So, when it comes to a flight that they want to or have to take, I don't know. I mean, we've already seen so many confrontations, unfortunately.
Well, I had an interesting moment with a mask at a grocery store yesterday, my friends. Go ahead, Rod.
Yeah. I was going to say, isn't it true at PDX and all airports that in the terminal buildings you have to have the mask? Isn't that correct, guys?
At PDX,
so people will have to have a mask
I don't know
with them. I think that's correct, at least at PDX.
Airports nationwide, but at PDX you do have to have it on,
While Brenda and Nina look at the viewer comments and can share a few of those, I'll tell you, yesterday at the grocery store, I had my mask on and went through the checkout line like I normally have. Bought a bottle of Prosecco for my wife, Mia. She does like the Prosecco. And I had my license in my car. I shouldn't always keep it there, I understand. But it was in my car anyway. So the woman says, I have not been asked this question in years at Safeway. Do you have ID, please? And I said to her, I don't. Actually, it's in the car. In fact, if I have to run and get it, don't even worry about it. I won't buy the bottle. No big deal. And she said, pull down your mask. And I thought, what's more important, getting this bottle of wine, staying safe? I was just surprised that she wanted me to do that.
She was doing like a wrinkle check or something?
What's that? I don't know. Yeah, it was kind of like, what about my lower face? Are you going to think it's going to prove that I'm not 21? So I kind of gave her the little letdown. There she goes, okay. And then I was really kind of bothered, like, is it my teeth? Are they too jacked up for a young person, or what is going on? So, and then I just kind of moved on. And then she says, she came back for more. Are you really 21? I said, listen, I'm May 9th, 1974. Again, I don't need this bottle of Prosecco that badly. If you don't want to sell it to me, I'm completely fine with that. And I walked out with the bottle still. But it was an odd moment in the grocery store with the mask.
Same thing happened. Wow. Same thing happened to me, Drew. Then they instantly gave me the senior discount. I said, why do you give me the senior discount? No,
went from one extreme to the other.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, well, here's another thing to keep you thinking on the plane. And I don't know if Director Brian can kind of zoom out for me a little bit on our little touch screen here. But I saw this headline during our newscast today, and I said, oh, Brenda, watch out. Because Delta and American Airlines now not serving alcohol on board their flights, because masks are required and they want to limit interactions between crew members and passengers. So, and you can't be wearing your mask if you're eating and drinking, and they want that mask on you as much as possible. So a few airlines, one in Europe, EasyJet, Delta, and American, are suspending all or part of their alcoholic drinks. So here we go. Delta not serving alcohol on domestic flights, but beer, wine, and spirits can be found on international flights. And on American Airlines, they are limiting food and drink according to the length of the flight. But those of you in first class, you can have alcohol. Everyone else in the main cabin, no. So,
oh, that's really interesting. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
First class can have alcohol and take their masks off, but
like the
not other
COVID
people.
bugs can't just make their way back. That's
they
ridiculous.
don't affect first-class passengers, Brenda.
Right. Well, the flight attendants associations, I'm looking at an article in Forbes, and, they've been pushing for this. They put out a statement saying the federal government has completely abdicated its responsibility to keep the flying public and aviation workers safe during COVID-19. They're like applauding American for finally, as they say, doing something about that.
Yeah.
So if you're working and you're on a plane and it's not just that one load of passengers, it's load after load after load, I can see why they're, very, very bothered by it.
We had Bethany Christine chiming in on the stream this morning, watching us on Facebook. I say good morning to you, Bethany Christine, pointing out that she and her family are flying in September to Las Vegas.
Woo!
She says they did buy more masks for those travels that are coming up at the end of summer. Bethany Christine, thanks for watching.
Vegas, man, that is a
Also,
high-touch area.
Rochelle Menashe is weighing in. She says, I'm flying in a couple of weeks. I won't mind wearing a mask. I hope everyone else will be wearing one too.
Yeah, I saw in that NBC Nightly package the reporter who has to fly across the country to cover stories for NBC. He wore goggles over his glasses. He wore the mask. And, and now I've started doing that well before COVID, but taking like disinfectant wipes. And before you sit down or touch anything, wiping down all the surfaces and then sitting down. But we do have a little story, Brenda, actually, that you voiced today on flying versus driving. So let's check that out.
The short answer on this one is that neither option is 100% safe right now. The coronavirus pandemic is still cause for concern, and there are a lot of things to keep in mind as you make decisions. As one infectious disease expert told CNN, your travel risks at this point depend a lot more on the personal choices of the traveler rather than the type of travel. When it comes to driving to your destination, the risks include stops to eat, drink, use the restroom, and sleep. But there are some benefits. When you drive, you have more control over who's in your environment. And even though you'll have to make pit stops, you can limit interactions, choosing drive-through instead of dine-in, and using gloves and wipes for any bathroom breaks. But the longer that drive gets, the more interactions you'll have. When it comes to flying, you have a lot less control over your fellow passengers. While airlines have all implemented new safety procedures, you don't know if the traveler in 2A has been practicing social distancing or using a face mask. Also, enforcement of safety procedures inside airports and airplanes has been uneven. But for travel over long distances and with proper precautions, it could mean less exposure. Either way, before you decide what's best, you'll need to weigh the risks and the benefits of traveling right now. And that's connecting the dots.
So there you go. You got to kind of weigh both options. Andrea, good morning. Andrea on Facebook, she says she's supposed to fly in July, but she has to cancel because she's high risk for the virus. So
I was happy that she clarified that, because earlier her lone comment, Andrea, was this is ridiculous. And of course, I didn't know what point she was making on being ridiculous, but that clears it up. She's high risk, she said, as Nina just mentioned, and she did have to cancel her flight that was scheduled for July because she is not willing to take that risk. The other side of the coin, we have Rusty watching this morning. What's up, Rusty? Good morning to you. Feel like you're having a fine morning so far based on this comment. He says that us, the four of us, had to go out of our way this morning to talk about the fact that we're wearing masks. Good for us. He says sorry for him, no masks, not now, not ever. Rusty putting his foot down on not wearing masks.
And Linda McGinnis weighs in. She says, hopefully I'll be flying in August. So looking forward to a trip somewhere. She didn't say exactly where.
yeah.
Rodney, we know, is flying this Friday. And Rodney, you're going to be gone for how long?
Yeah. What am I? I'm off starting Thursday, and then we leave Friday, and then we come back home the following Saturday. My mom and dad's 65th wedding anniversary, by the way. 65 years and counting.
All right. Well, congratulations to
They're
the
both
Mr.
doing really well. My
and
folks are
Mrs.
in their
Hill.
mid-80s, but doing well.
Well, Rod, enjoy your time with your family. We always enjoy our time on Sunrise Extra. We're wrapping it up this morning, though, gang. So Nina, Brenda, Rodney, myself will be back tomorrow. Rod will still be here on Wednesday and Thursday. Oh, no, pardon me, Wednesday, but not Thursday. Rodney Hill packing his bags and going away. Bye-bye.